In my past life, he approached me only to get to Lila Liang, watching his true love end up with someone else. We went round and round, and I was Mrs. Zhou for 7 years. The first thing he did after rebirth was to get rid of me. Nora, let's just call it quits. He wasn't the respected CEO Zhou everyone fawned over yet, just a college student applying for a poverty scholarship. He'd once dated his crush's best friend just for love. And regretted it for 10 years. I agreed to leave him alone. So why was he rushing to find me after my identity was exposed? When the bell rang for the end of class. Nora, let's go to the cafeteria. I ignored the 10-year younger Lila Liang and packed my bag. Henry Zhou, standing beside her, parted his thin lips gently, his watery eyes soft on Lila. No, we'll go by ourselves. Nora, he's been really busy lately. He turned his handsome profile, his tone sharp with reminder. Right. I remembered Henry's cold, frosty voice that day, leaving no room for argument. Nora, let's end this well. This time, I won't miss Lila Liang. Of course. He regretted it for a full decade. Regretted dating me just to get close to Lila. Regretted labeling himself my boyfriend too early. Now that he'd been given a second life, he'd never do something so childish again. I pulled the corner of my mouth. Yeah. You two go ahead. He's right, I'm busy with the campus competition and rehearsals. At the mention of the competition, Lila Liang's eyes flickered. In my past life, I'd inherited a huge fortune from my parents, yet willingly packaged myself as a virtuous wife struggling alongside Henry Zhou. To protect his pride, I only supported him silently. I lived with him in a tiny basement apartment while he rented a place, cooking meals every day and waiting for him to come home. When he started his business later, I invested in him secretly. Back then, he said, Nora, I'm so lucky to have you. I watched the two of them leave and called out to Henry Zhou. Wait. Henry stopped and turned around, slightly annoyed. His eyes held the look of I knew you'd come crawling back. I held out my hand and spoke as he stared at me in confusion. I remember I topped up your meal card. Since we're breaking up, please pay me back. Henry froze. He'd probably forgotten that the future CEO who spent tens of thousands on a single meal was still a college student who couldn't even afford his living expenses. Lila Liang had no idea that everything Henry gave her, every meal he treated her to, was my money. I'd protected his pride and never told her his real situation. I felt sorry for him and transferred money to his card in secret. Whenever the three of us ate together, Henry was the one who swiped the card. Lila never paid. She, like Henry, was applying for a poverty scholarship. Sure enough, Lila frowned and glanced faintly at Henry. That one glance made Henry's neck flush red. Lila always carried herself with quiet indifference, that distant air that won her titles like goddess and campus belle. I once truly thought she wanted nothing, and I'd given her my things countless times. Thinking back now, I could only call myself an idiot. He gave me a deep look and placed the meal card in my palm. Nora, we're even now. The cold card felt like my heart, not painful, but deeply uncomfortable. Lila Liang looked at me, hesitating to speak. Nora, do you want to think again? I looked at her. I would never forget our wedding anniversary. In front of everyone, Lila Liang had broken into our house with a child. She knelt before me, begging me not to tear them apart. The 3-year-old kid cried and hit me, the evil woman who stole her father. And Henry Zhou only said one thing about Lila Liang. The child is mine. I loved Lila Liang from the start. You've taken her place for years. It's time to give it back. Betrayal by my best friend and the person I loved most was the cruelest lesson of my life. Until his dying day, Henry Zhou thought I'd stolen Lila's position, climbed into high society by clinging to him, and never respected me. Now I was giving Lila Liang her place back. Henry Zhou and I were both orphans. The difference was that I was the sole heir of the He group, carrying a huge fortune. He was truly poor, so poor he had to earn his own tuition. To keep him from working odd jobs everywhere, I set up a generous scholarship for our department at school. Henry was a top student, winning tens of thousands in prize money every year. With student loans, he never needed to work outside. After graduation, I encouraged him to start a business and quietly sent him money in roundabout ways, building the future CEO Joe. Yet he ended up with Lila Liang, who returned divorced from abroad. This time, he wanted to live his own life. So would I. I took out my phone and dialed the number I knew by heart. Atticus' phone. I agreed to the engagement. Before my parents passed away, they arranged a marriage between me and the Feng family to keep me from being bullied. I distanced myself from Atticus because I didn't like him before. Now I thought being with him wouldn't be so bad. At least in my past life, Atticus Feng never married, never had another woman. He was clean. 3. Within days, news of my breakup with Henry Shou spread all over campus. He became one of the many pursuing Lila Liang. Wherever Lila Liang was, Henry Shou followed. His love was intense and direct. Under the dormitory building, sunlight filtered through the leaves, dappling Henry's tall figure. Ophelia Feng glanced at me carefully. Nora, you'll definitely find someone better looking, more talented than Henry. I forced a smile and said nothing. Everyone said Henry Shou dumped me for Lila Liang. I now walked to class under everyone's sympathetic stares. After the initial awkwardness, I learned to ignore it. A shy boy suddenly ran over from the side. Nora, this is for you. I stared at the box of imported chocolates in his hand. They were expensive, beautifully wrapped, but I knew they weren't for me. They were for Lila Liang. Everyone knew Lila and I were inseparable best friends. Guys chasing Lila always gave me things to pass to her first. I only found out how bad my reputation was at a class reunion after graduation. People said I played with multiple guys, loved taking advantage of others. Lila Liang knew, yet accepted everything without guilt, enjoying the gifts while playing them off. I can't pass them for you anymore. Give them to Lila yourself. The boy blushed deeply. Just then, Lila Liang walked down from the dorm. Henry Shou stood stiffly. Nora, what are you talking about? When has Lila ever accepted things from him? Lila was the pure goddess of the college, never close to any guy. He acted like something precious had been violated, deeply uncomfortable. Oh, really? Of course, in his heart, Lila was his unsullied white moonlight. She would never do such a thing. Lila Liang, you haven't accepted gifts from other guys? Lila spoke calmly. Nora, I know you're upset about the breakup. I don't blame you. She radiated an air of I'm too generous to argue with you. I spoke even more calmly. That expensive phone in your hand was given by him. The earphones are from Senior Zhang of the economics department. Oh, he also sent you flowers for a week. When you said flowers weren't practical, he switched to a set of dry lipsticks, Dousha shade. I've handled all of them. Nora, weren't those from your admirers? Ophelia Feng adjusted her glasses, eyes sparkling with gossip. I shook my head. All for Lila Liang. I passed everything to her. Lila Liang was no longer calm. I thought you gave them to me. I scoffed and asked Ophelia Feng. Do you believe her? Ophelia Feng raised her hand. Of course not. But Henry was glaring at her, so she touched her nose awkwardly. Maybe Lila misunderstood. Henry Shou said, you accepted things from others and blamed Lila. Nora, is this fun to you? A numb pain shot through my heart. I swayed slightly. What's wrong? Henry stepped forward to support me, his brows furrowed so tightly they could crush a mosquito. I snapped back to my senses and pulled my hand away. If you don't believe me, I can call Senior Zhang and this guy to confront you. If you still don't believe it, I can find more people. I looked at Lila Lean's clenched fists and spoke slowly. I have their contacts. Every time Lila accepted something, I reported back to them. Do you want me to call right now? I pretended to reach for my phone. Enough, Nora. You're just jealous Lila is more popular than you, jealous she's prettier. You look disgusting when you're jealous. I heard Ophelia Fong gasp. After his parents died, Henry Zhou had always acted mature, never embarrassing someone publicly. In front of others, he was always the gentle top student. But there was one rule. As long as Lila Yang was involved, she could always stir his emotions. What I thought was mutual sympathy, helping him through hardships, it was just that he had no better choice back then. I closed my eyes, wanting so badly to tell him. He wasn't even in the top 10 of Lila Liang's list. Only after Henry transformed into the fierce CEO Zhou did the divorced Lila Liang finally look at him. All those years, they'd secretly dated behind my back, enjoying their love. And I was just an ordinary wife, nagging him to drink less, not smoke, get checkups. Repeating the same words over and over. How many times had I thought, when Henry was romancing Lila Liang, getting my endless messages telling him to take care, was he just as unbearably annoyed as he was now? I never told Henry that much of his so-called success came from my behind-the-scenes support. It concerned a man's pride, and Henry Zhou was once the person I held dearest. I'd been more than willing to raise a boy into an outstanding man. But that man shouldn't have been taken by someone else once he matured. He betrayed me, and in the end, he still labeled me as jealous. I thought it was necessary to make him face reality. Henry Zhou, what right do you have to stand up for Lila Yang? Ignoring his suddenly cold expression, I took Ophelia Fong and left. He seemed to forget that Lila Liang looked down on him. Right now. 5 Maybe my words had struck a chord. Henry Zhou didn't wait for Lila Liang downstairs for a long time. Lila Liang was also busy preparing for the campus competition recently and didn't pay much attention to him. To encourage students, the school offered a 10,000 yuan prize for the champion. I wasn't joining for the money, but Lila Liang desperately needed that 10,000 yuan. It was through this competition that Lila Liang gained a little fame, which later helped her attract many young elites. I planned to play the piano on stage. Coincidentally, Lila Liang also chose the piano. I ran into Lila Liang in the school piano room. After my piece, I turned and saw Lila Liang at the door. She looked a little off and forced a smile. Nora, I didn't know you played so well. I closed the piano and packed my things. Really? Just a little better than you. Seeing that I was leaving, Lila Liang blocked my way. Nora, can you skip the competition this time? I know you're only competing with me because of Henry Zhou, but you can't blame me. He's the one who's clinging to me. I really wished Henry Zhou could see Lila Liang like this. To see if she was still the goddess in his memory. Joining the competition has nothing to do with Henry Zhou. You're right, who he likes is none of my business, and none of yours. I didn't want to say another word to her. From the moment she coveted my marriage and my love, there was nothing left to talk about between us. But I still underestimated how determined Lila Yang was to stop me. Summer thunder boomed. Another thunderstorm. Rain soaked his hair. What are you doing here? I held the umbrella over his head. The instinctive move made Henry Zhou step back. Nora, what will it take for you to drop out of the competition? I pressed my lips together and looked at him indifferently. Why should I? Henry Zhou turned his face away. If you give up this competition, I'll agree to go on a date with you. If you want more, it's not impossible. I stared at him in disbelief, shocked by his words. Henry Zhou, you make me sick. I no longer wanted to live with Lila Liang and decided to move out of the dorm. The butler arrived with staff and packed my things efficiently. Ophelia Fong stood aside, mouth wide open. Nora, these are all your family's helpers? I nodded, took off my glasses, and put on makeup. Henry Zhou didn't like me wearing bright colors. He preferred Lila Lian's plain style. Too bad I was naturally charming and glamorous. Dressing plainly made me look malnourished, like a demon forcing herself to eat vegetarian food. Henry Zhou said I wasn't as pretty as Lila Liang. He was just blind. When Lila Liang returned to the dorm and saw the new me, she froze in surprise. Nora, what are you doing? I put on my own designer clothes. Nothing. Just tired of pretending. Going home. Ophelia Feng said enviously, Lila Liang, you have no idea. Nora has 8 maids and bodyguards. A real young lady was right next to me. She threw herself at me playfully. Nora when you get rich, don't forget me. Remember I gossiped with you. I smiled, pulled out an LV bag from home, and handed it to her. For you. Do you like it? I love it. I love it so much. Lila Lian's eyes turned dark. In the past, I'd given her anything I had. Back home after so long, I threw myself onto the bed. No more pretending to be poor, no more worrying about Henry Zhou's finances. Just enjoying life. I'd been such an idiot before. Ophelia Feng posted on Moments, thanks to the young lady for the gift. Ma. The picture showed the bag I gave her. I left it quietly along with everyone else. The butler worked faster than I expected. Within days, the school announced that the annual scholarship for the computer science department was cancelled. For someone like Henry Zhou, who relied on scholarships to pay tuition, this was a huge problem. He had to start working odd jobs again to earn money. After officially getting together with Atticus Feng, he gradually appeared in my moments. Henry Zhou called. I heard you're with Atticus Feng now. No comment. Nora you don't have to use him to make me jealous. It won't work. I hope you think carefully and stop doing these ridiculous things. I remembered Ophelia Feng saying that Henry Zhou had fought someone for Lila Liang. Mind your own, Lila Liang. My business is not of your concern. I hung up sharply. Later that day, Ophelia Feng texted me. Henry Zhou has a part-time job at a Western restaurant. And guess what? He saw Lila Liang having dinner with some guy off campus. They were being really close. Henry Zhou rushed over and hit him. Do you think he's overstepping? She's not even his girlfriend. Why is he so worked up? But I understood Henry Zhou. Lila Liang had given birth to his daughter in the past life. He already saw her as his woman, and naturally couldn't stand her being intimate with other men. But Lila Liang was ambitious. All she cared about was climbing up. Henry Zhou at this stage was nowhere near good enough for her. She only treated him nicely when she needed to use him. On the day of the campus competition, Henry Zhou stayed by Lila Lian's side. He looked exhausted, with heavy dark circles and a messy shirt. I sharply noticed the fabric was already frayed. It seemed my leaving hadn't improved his life at all. His gaze met mine for a second, then shifted to Atticus Feng beside me. My appearance with Atticus caused a small stir. Henry Zhou's odd reaction didn't escape his notice. Atticus Feng glanced at me, a silent warning in his eyes. Liu. Ophelia Feng waved at me, that familiar spark in her eyes. When I sat next to her, she gave me a thumbs up. I called it. I said you'd find someone better looking and more talented than Henry Zhou. And look at you did. I winked at her. Thanks to you. On stage, Lila Liang wore a long white dress, her soft hair flowing behind her fitting her goddess image perfectly. After her performance, applause broke out. Henry Zhou stood near the stage, hands in his pockets, watching her quietly. Somehow, my performance was scheduled right after Lila Lian's. After she stepped down, she glanced at me faintly, walked to Henry Zhou, and linked her arm through his. I lowered my eyes, expressionless. Ophelia Feng muttered quietly, Nora, don't let her get to you. I smiled. By now, Henry Zhou could no longer affect me. I walked onto the stage, passing Henry Zhou. Nora he. I stopped. He said, "You can't even play the piano properly. Why humiliate yourself?" I looked at Lila Yang with a faint smile. Is this what you told him? That I'm bad, so he should stop me from going on stage? It has nothing to do with Lila Yang. She's just worried about you, afraid you'll embarrass yourself in front of everyone. Is that so? Thank her for me. But I don't need it. I turned and stepped onto the stage, not even bothering to glance at Lila Liang's fake face. Croatian Rhapsody flowed from my fingers. The powerful, emotional piece showed not only the hope of the Croatian people after the war, but also my determination to abandon the past and embrace a new life after rebirth. When I hit the last note, the whole hall fell silent. A few seconds later, thunderous applause erupted. Under the stage lights, my beauty was dazzling and flawless. I heard whistles from the audience, and Ophelia Fong jumping and cheering wildly. The burning gaze pierced through the crowd and landed on me. I looked back. Atticus Feng's handsome face broke into a bright, unrestrained smile. I won the championship, without a doubt. Qi. After the noise died down, I sent Atticus Feng off. With the campus competition over, the campus felt quiet, like the fading glow of sunset. Henry Zhou's agitated voice drifted over on the wind. Lila Yang, why won't you believe me? How am I supposed to believe you? You say you love me, but your eyes are on another woman. What about you? You've been stringing several guys along. What do you take yourself for? Lila Liang's voice showed emotion for the first time. What else can I do? My brother needs 300,000 for medical treatment. Can you give me 30 万? If you can, I will cut off contact with everyone else right now. Can you? A short silence. Just when I thought Henry Zhou would agree, I heard his low voice. Lila Yang, don't push me. No one's pushing you. I never asked you for anything from the start. You didn't. Did you forget how you cried and begged me to get Nora He to drop out of the competition? Henry Zhou, you still care about Nora He, don't you? You regret it now that you saw how beautiful she was today, don't you? After they left, I sat there for a long time. So that's where the 300,000 came from. In my past life, Henry Zhou had borrowed loan sharks. I only found out when they came after him, almost breaking his arm. But no matter how I asked, he never told me what he needed the money for. I paid it off for him, lying that I borrowed it from a friend. It turned out that 300,000 had gone to Lila Liang. But none of that mattered to me anymore. Whether Henry Zhou borrowed loan sharks again like in the past life was his choice. Time passed slowly. I became famous on campus after the competition. My name was gradually tagged with campus belle. Guys started sending me flowers and hitting on me at school, but I turned them all down. When Ophelia Feng hesitantly told me people were joking that I still missed Henry Zhou, I immediately posted about my engagement to Atticus Feng on Moments. A second later, Atticus Feng reposted it on all social platforms. He was already a public figure, and the news spread to the school in no time. Lila Liang had been looking at me with knives in her eyes lately. Thinking back, the only man Lila Liang had ever praised was Atticus Feng. A senior god from a few grades above, a genius with a gilded resume, backed by the Feng group, sharp-tongued, funny, and uninterested in women. He was exactly Lila Liang's ultimate target. But someone like Atticus Feng would never cross paths with her. It was just a fantasy. Nora, you're really with Atticus Feng. I thought you always liked Henry Zhou. Oh, I don't anymore. She blurted out, then where did Henry get the money? I snapped back and studied her carefully. Compared to her anxious look a while ago, she was back to being distant and calm. It didn't take a genius to figure it out. Lila's family trouble must have been solved. Henry Zhou still couldn't bear to let her down. I kindly gave her a hint. I never gave him any money. If you want to know where he got it, ask him yourself. Lila Yang fell silent. She wasn't stupid. Henry was a college student who could barely pay his own tuition, yet he suddenly gave her 300,000 yuan. What price he paid, even Lila Yang probably didn't dare to think too hard about it. Ba's senior year arrived. I gradually stepped back from campus and stepped into He Group early. In my past life, He Group was run by professional agents, and I rarely worried about it. By the time I slowly transferred everything to Henry Zhou, I'd stopped working entirely. This time, I had no intention of giving He Group to anyone. The marriage with Atticus Feng was only because he was a suitable partner. I had no plans to hand over my family company. Life was intense and busy. I buried myself in work every day and lost weight, but my spirit grew stronger. Life without revolving around a man was pretty good. In my free time, I gossiped with Ophelia Feng about our classmates, or learned how to run a company from Atticus Feng. Time passed quietly. Ophelia Feng told me Henry Zhou and Lila Yang had gotten together. I just raised an eyebrow. Maybe Lila Liang softened after learning how Henry got that 300,000. Too bad I was wrong again. It was pouring rain the day Henry cornered me at the cafe. Dark clouds covered the sky, making his figure look desolate. I just met up with Atticus Feng when we ran into Henry. Strangely, he stayed calm. I watched Henry's furrowed brows and introduced Atticus Feng. Atticus Feng, the future tech tycoon, sole heir of the Feng Group and Henry Zhou's most hated business rival in my past life. Atticus's gaze was clear and calm. He nodded slowly at Henry. Atticus was just as handsome as Henry, but colder by nature. His sharp tongue took away 3 points of his charm, yet his temperament was outstanding. Standing side by side, Atticus always stood out more. Henry's eyes flipped slightly at the sight of him. He said to me, "Let's talk." I was non-committal. No, I have plans with Atticus. He'd probably never been rejected so directly by me before. Henry seemed stunned and reflexively said, "I came all this way to find you." Ha! Atticus let out a soft laugh, meeting Henry's angry glare. "How kind of you to grace us with your presence." I turned my head so he wouldn't see my smile. I was surprised Henry didn't snap back. In my past life, they'd been like fire and ice. Henry Zhou had grown more restrained. I sighed. He really had changed. It seemed I had to make things clear before he would leave. I said to Atticus, "I need to handle something private. Let's call it a day for now." Atticus's eyes darkened like a deep pool. He turned and left. Such a petty temper. Zhou. Henry Zhou looked at me deeply. So the rumors are true. I froze for a second. After Atticus announced our engagement, my identity was suddenly exposed. He was always the center of attention, and I got dragged into it too. The sole heiress of the He Group. Yeah. So you're the young lady of the He Group. He closed his eyes. I sipped my coffee lazily and looked straight at him. What are you really trying to say? He dropped his gaze. So you were lying to me this whole time. I stared at the heavy rain outside. Yeah. I lied to you, and you lied to me. We're even. How can we be even? What do you want then? Henry let out a breath. Nora, give me one more chance. I almost spat out my coffee. Henry Zhou, you really do surprise me. He lifted his eyes, his tone lonely. Lila Yang isn't who I thought she was. Nora, he didn't seem soft or gentle at first glance, bright, bold, and decisive. But Henry knew how deeply she'd once cared for him. All her tenderness had been for him. Lila Yang looked soft and gentle, like clear water. But after getting close, he saw just how cold she was. Maybe it was because he wasn't the respected CEO Zhou yet. He'd gotten a taste of Lila Liang's ruthlessness. He had no money, no use to her anymore, so she left without a single glance back, still chasing after other men. He couldn't ask Lila Liang to live in a tiny basement with him, let alone start a business and wait for him with home-cooked meals like Nora he had. Living in the basement, he often thought back to what he'd been doing at this point in his past life. Back then, Lila Liang had also taken his money, but he was still with Nora he, so they weren't together. Henry thought he'd fix things with Nora he first, then give Lila Liang the good life she deserved. But what he got was Lila Liang leaving for abroad and marrying some rich foreigner. He bottled up all that anger, thinking only of making money, of winning her back. As for Nora he just needed her at the time. Did you know this would happen all along? That's why you dumped me so cleanly. I stood up. Henry Zhou, even now you still think this is everyone else's fault. Henry shot up and grabbed me. Nora you hated Atticus Fong. Don't you remember? I stopped. I never hated him. You disliked him, so I pretended to. He was actually my fiancé, chosen by my family long ago. If you hadn't been in the picture, our lives would never have gone off track. Henry Zhou, let's go back to where we belong. I'm no longer in your way or Lila Liang's. You got what you wanted. You should be happy. 10. The rain kept pouring down heavily. I didn't call my family driver and was about to take a taxi when an umbrella covered my head. The fresh scent of laundry detergent and rain filled my nose. Atticus Fong held the umbrella, not looking at me. I'll take you home. I didn't refuse. Nora let's get married. Even Atticus himself looked surprised after saying it. Under the umbrella, he looked like a troubled nobleman suddenly touched by mortal warmth. His bright eyes lit up gradually. I took him back to the villa. Raindrops slid down his hair onto his neck. I licked my lips. The next second, he lifted me into his arms. I buried my face in his chest, blushing, and pointed to the bathroom. No thinking about other men from now on. Atticus tucked a strand of hair behind my ear and whispered threateningly, only me. Or I won't. Guarantee you'll have the energy to look for anyone else. And I truly had no energy left after that. Atticus Fong was the kind of man who easily won people over. I thought if he wanted to, he could make any woman fall for him without effort. 11. I thought I'd never see Henry Zhou in front of me again. Nora, are you doing okay? I looked at his messy, washed-out clothes, his unshaven face completely broken down. I thought we already made everything clear. Cigarette butts littered the ground at Henry's feet. He never smoked before. He smiled bitterly. Lila Liang left. So what? Why are you here looking for me? Henry suddenly stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and slammed it against his own face. I jumped and pulled my hand away. Are you crazy? His eyes were terrifyingly red. He grabbed my shoulders. Nora, forgive me, okay? Let's go back to how we were. We'll start a business together, you'll be my support. I finally see my heart clearly. I never loved Lila Liang. I was just bitter. I've always loved you. His grip hurt my shoulders. I frowned and gasped. Let go. You're hurting me. Henry seemed to snap back to his senses and loosened his hold, but still kept me loosely in his arms. Nora, say yes. Please. I stepped back, my face dark. No. We broke up. I'm not getting back together with you. Give up. You're lying. You loved me so much. How could you not change your mind? Nora, I gave up Lila Liang. Do you hear me? I gave her up. I was furious. You're not listening. The moment you betrayed me, there was no going back. I don't believe you. You wouldn't do this to me. You love me. I love you too. Let's start over. I'll treat you right this time. Henry Zhou wasn't listening to a word I said. He insisted I take him back. His expression was growing manic. I was scared by his crazed look and struggled desperately. 12 Henry dragged me forward, running wildly. Soon he brought me to an abandoned rooftop. Nora, I have nothing left. Can you really watch me die? Below was a 5-story abandoned mall, piled with steel bars and concrete. My heart was in my throat. I didn't dare provoke him further. Henry had lost all his former spirit. Right now, he looked like a stray dog no one wanted. Henry Zhou, calm down. Without Lila Liang, you still have your career. Without money, you can earn more. You have a bright future. I'm just a scenery you passed. It's time to move on. He laughed miserably, laughing until he could barely breathe, and still wouldn't stop. Don't lie to me. I know I only succeeded because you were behind me. I have no future left. Henry Zhou calmed down again. He stepped toward me. I backed away in fear, kicking a brick. It crashed down and shattered. Ah! I screamed in terror. Henry rushed forward and held me. Nora, don't be scared. I won't hurt you. Trust me. I cried in fear. Henry Zhou, let me go. We really can't go back. Atticus Feng will find me soon. At the name Atticus Feng, Henry snapped. You don't love him at all. You love me. He's just someone you found to make me jealous because I ignored you. Nora, you've been tricked by him. Don't you remember how much you used to hate him? No. I shook my head desperately. No. Don't you remember what you said? You told me I stole Lila Ling's place, that I should give it back. I did. What are you doing now? Henry crouched in pain, clutching his head. Stop it. Just stop talking. He reached out and hugged my legs. I'm sorry, Nora. Forgive me just once. Okay. 13. No. Atticus. Feng climbed up from downstairs, gasping, sweating all over. His cold gaze locked onto Henry Zhou. Take your dirty hands off her. Don't touch her. Henry stared at the man. In front of him. Rage exploded in his chest. If it weren't for him, Nora he would never have left. Without him, he would have won her back. Everything would have gone back to the way it was in his past life. He would have become successful, marry Nora but this time, he would never betray her. He would stay away from Lila Liang and love only Nora. They would have children, a perfect happy life. Nora he would care for him like she used to. Henry saw red. He lunged forward, wanting to erase this man forever. Atticus dodged Henry's punch and charged back. The two men fought violently. Like males fighting over a mate. Neither held back. Atticus took a hit to the face. Then Henry's jaw was smashed by Atticus's return punch. I rushed forward and threw myself onto Atticus. Henry Zhou, stop. Unexpectedly, Henry froze. 14. He collapsed onto the ground, miserable. Nora, you're so cruel. I quickly checked Atticus's injuries. At his words, I stood up sharply. Slap. My palm tingled. I slapped Henry Zhou across the face. He stared, stunned. But I spoke of something unrelated. I remember the day Lila Liang broke into our house. You protected her and took her away. Left me alone there, everyone staring. I couldn't move. My whole body was shaking. I thought you'd come back that day, that you'd explain. But you never did. I waited from dark until dawn. Nothing. Do you know why I drove out that day? I looked at Henry's stiff face and whispered. It was Lila Liang. She sent me photos of you two together. I lost my mind and went looking for you. I did find you. I brought you into the car. But her words kept echoing in my head. I was so annoyed. So angry. I crouched down close to him and murmured in his ear. So I stepped hard on the gas and crashed. I wanted you to die with me. I smiled as he stared blankly at me. Now do you really think we can still be together? I stood up, took Atticus Finn's hand, and walked away. For a long moment, a suppressed, desperate roar came from behind, a whimper from a dying beast. Scattered by the wind. 15. My wedding with Atticus Finn was luxurious yet low-key. You know my secret now. Are you scared of me? Betray my love, and I might just eat you. I wore my wedding dress, smiling as I fixed Atticus's suit. He grabbed my fidgeting hand. Madam wife, we signed the prenuptial agreement. I'm broke. Relax, there will never be another you, so good at saving almost lost men. I glared at him, annoyed. After that day, he squeezed every last detail out of me about Henry Shaw and made me write a guarantee 10 times before letting it go. Since then, he kept me under his protection. I never saw Henry Shaw again. Occasionally, I heard bits of news from Ophelia Fong. His loan shark debt for Lila Yang got exposed. Facing huge interest, he could only work himself to the bone to pay it back. Every day was exhausting. Unlike his past life, without me cleaning up his mess, his hand had been broken. Maybe Henry Shaw was still Henry Shaw, not completely useless, not just a man who climbed up on me. Maybe he would start a business again someday. But this time, he would have to do it on his own. Years after we married, Lila Liang returned from abroad in disgrace, divorced, just like in my past life. I heard she looked for Henry Zhou, but he refused to see her. The last time I saw Lila Liang, she was hanging off a man 2 generations older than her at a party. Henry Zhou was also there. Using his past life experience, he'd built a decent-sized company. Not as successful as before, but still respectable. His name popped up in the news occasionally. When asked why he never married, he just smiled and changed the subject. Every time that happened, Atticus Fong would sulk for days and then definitely post photos of us on social media. He still disliked Henry Zhou, convinced he was a ticking time bomb just like in the past life. They still couldn't stand each other. In a corner of the banquet, Henry Zhou smoked silently. Lila Liang's face was pale, tears sliding down her cheeks. She was still beautiful. But no one cared about her beauty anymore. Henry, how have you been all these years? I thought of you so much abroad. If my family hadn't needed money, I never would have married someone there. Haven't you ever missed me? We'd walked straight into a disaster. Atticus and I stopped awkwardly. Henry Shaw saw me, smiled faintly, and nodded. When he noticed my slightly swollen belly, he quietly put out his cigarette. Miss Liang, don't bother me. He didn't disappoint. He didn't glance at Lila Liang even once. He walked past us. Atticus Fong glanced sideways at me and pulled me tightly into his arms. On high alert. Lila Liang stared, unable to believe Henry could ignore her like she was air. Meeting my half-smiling gaze, she turned away in humiliation. I linked my arm through Atticus Finn's and stepped back into the world of fame and fortune. My fate with the others was over. From now on, everyone stays in their own place. Love should never mean self-sacrifice and blind compromise, nor can it tolerate deception and betrayal. In her past life, the heroine devoted everything to supporting her partner but was let down. Reborn, she woke up, distanced herself and lived for herself, finally gaining happiness. It teaches us to stay independent in relationships, cherish those who truly care for us and stay away from draining ones. Never lose yourself for someone unworthy. Only when you love yourself can you be loved.